Happy Halloween, study buddies, and welcome to another episode of the Magic School Bus. Scarlet Studies. Can you guess my costume this year? I'm Miss Frizzle, who, if you don't know, is the teacher from one of my favorite shows growing up, the Magic School Bus. Miss Frizzle had a habit of taking her students on wild field trips to places like the rainforest, outer space, sometimes even inside the human body. So, in the true spirit of Miss Frizzle, I'm gonna take you on a wild ride to learn the truth about Halloween. Is it as spooky as it seems? Seatbelts, everyone! I am freaking out right now. This is one of my favorite costumes I've ever worn. In case you somehow hadn't figured it out by now, I really like dressing up. I put this one together on Amazon, completely, from the wig to the earrings to the shirt and the dress. The wig just kind of came red. I put some white shoe polish here in the front, and then I kind of like tapped on some yellow eyeshadow. I think it kind of worked. And speaking of Amazon, if you want to dress up like my character Electra or any of the Pops all year round, there's a link in my description to the costume pieces you might need. It's no surprise that I've always loved Halloween. The chilly weather, the dressing up, the haunted houses, the spooky decorations, ghost stories, and of course, candy. What's not to like about this primarily American tradition? Well, apparently, some people don't like Halloween. Some people don't celebrate it at all. So I decided to do a little research to find out why. And what I found was actually very surprising. Has anybody ever warned you about poisoned trick-or-treat candy? Ever since trick-or-treating started in America, rumors about cyanide and pixie sticks, razor blades and apples, even hot pennies being dumped into the hands of trick-or-treaters have run wild. Halloween historian and researcher Joel Bess has been looking for proof of candy contamination in America for decades. And guess how many cases he's found? Zero proven instances of strangers poisoning kids with Halloween candy. There's only a few cases of people putting dangerous objects in candy, and 95% of those have actually turned out to be a hoax done by the trick-or-treaters themselves. That's not to say it could never happen, but because this urban myth has grown so large, some trick-or-treaters have their entire bag of candy searched, even x-rayed, unwrapped, or taken away completely. Some families are too afraid to go trick-or-treating at all. Womp womp. For those of you who might be too afraid to eat candy from strangers, try only trick-or-treating from the neighbors that you know. And if you're giving out treats this year, you want to make sure that everybody feels safe, try giving out small toys or mini games instead of candy. Have you ever heard that Halloween is actually evil? Do you know anybody who thinks it should be banned? This view on Halloween is likely because it's a mixture of many religious and cultural traditions that go back like thousands of years. It's mainly a combination of two ancient holidays, All Saints' Day and Samhain. Let's break it down. Starting with the word Halloween. Even that is a combination of things. Hallowed is another word for saintly, and een is another way of saying eve, which means the night before. So if you put that all together, Halloween was just a fast way of saying the night before All Saints' Day. All Saints' Day was originally a Catholic holiday that celebrated all of the souls who had passed, including saints. Some Catholics called it Hallowmas or All Hallows' Eve, but Halloween is kind of the one that stuck. By the 12th century, All Saints' Day had also become a Christian tradition. And similar to Christmas Eve, people started celebrating it the night before. Christians would dress in dark colors and walk throughout their villages to pray for the souls of the dead. They decorated by painting skulls and skeletons on things. They even baked little soul cakes to pass out. Fun fact, All Saints' Day and thus Hallowmas or Halloween were originally celebrated in May, until the year 835 AD, when Pope Gregory IV moved Halloween to October 31st. But something else was also being celebrated on October 31st. The Celtic New Year, called Samhain, which means summer's end. Samhain was celebrated by the Celts, or Celtic people, in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and the Isle of Man. The Celts believed that fairies and spirits walked the earth the night of October 31st, and they wore spooky costumes to blend in case any angry spirits tried to bother them. And while they were dressed up, they went house to house singing songs and reciting verses in exchange for snacks, essentially. Sound familiar? Samhain and All Saints' Eve traditions were both celebrated on October 31st in Europe for hundreds of years. Soon it became kinda hard to tell who was celebrating which because they were so similar. Cut to the 1800s in America. European immigrants brought their traditions with them, and a new type of American Halloween was born. At first, it was mostly just teenagers causing mischief and playing tricks on people. So communities started asking parents to take their younger kids door to door to go trick-or-treating to make it more fun and family-friendly. So, we've learned that Halloween candy being poisoned is basically a myth. And we've learned that Halloween began as a mixture of many traditions, none of which are evil. Is there anything you should be scared about on Halloween? Well, yeah. According to the American College of Emergency Physicians, Halloween yields a lot of injuries, like getting poked with sharp objects like decorations, burns from flammable costumes, catching on fire from candles and jack-o'-lanterns, and even allergic reactions to face or body paint. By the way, just a heads up from a fellow cosplayer, make sure you test any makeup on a small patch of skin, somewhere that's not your face, before you put it all over your body. But the biggest danger of Halloween is actually cars. Pedestrians are more than twice as likely to get hit by a car on Halloween than any other night all year round. Which makes perfect sense. I mean, there's so many reasons why you could get hit by a car on Halloween. You're running around house to house, crossing the street, maybe not looking where you're going. You might be wearing dark colors. You might be wearing something that's too long and tripping over it and getting stuck in the middle of the street. You might have a mask on that reduces your visibility so you can't really see where you're going. So the experts recommend that you put reflective patches on your costume and or on your candy bag so that motorists can see you. But does that mean that Halloween is actually more dangerous than other holidays? And how do you even determine that to begin with? Some holidays have the most car accidents and other holidays have the most heart attacks. But those were too specific. So I decided to do a little research on which holiday has the most emergency room visits. So that includes, well, all kinds of emergencies. And based on that, it turns out the most dangerous American holiday is actually Thanksgiving. Can you believe that? More people visit emergency rooms on Thanksgiving than any other day. And Christmas Day, by the way, comes in second. People get grease burns cooking in their kitchen. They break bones playing football in the backyard. On Thanksgiving and sometimes on Christmas, you're probably doing a lot of things you don't normally do, like hanging decorations or driving long distances in cold, icy weather. So you're much more likely to have an emergency later on in the holiday season than October 31st. This year, Halloween is going to look a little bit different because of the coronavirus pandemic. Trick or treat might be canceled in your hometown, or maybe you'll be going to a trunk or treat event instead. But that's okay. Don't let your Halloween spirit fade. Dress up at home, watch some scary movies, or even better, watch some spooky YouTube content from my friends. The links are in my description below. And don't forget to tag me in your Halloween costumes. I want to see all of them, especially if you're dressed like a certain red superhero with electricity powers. And before you go, as Miss Frizzle, I have to encourage you to join my Study Buddy Club. And the way that you do that is by subscribing to my channel and turning on your bell notifications. My earrings turn on! I didn't even know that! I'll see you next time, Study Buddies! Bye-bye!